Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Authentically Albertan. Today, I am back here in Grande Prairie, joined by Jolaina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What is all of this we have on the table? What do you own here? What do you make?
Okay, so I'm a beekeeper in Grande
Mhm.
Prairie, Alberta. I grew up in Grovedale, which is about 15 minutes south of Grande Prairie, and on a bee farm.
I believe we have a picture of it right
Yes,
here
yes.
for evidence.
This is my very first parade. I was the bee on the hood of the truck, and in the 80s, you could drive a vehicle with a kid on the hood, not strapped down or anything, no problem.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah.
My parents put a blanket down so it wouldn't get too hot. So they were thoughtful.
So your parents were also beekeepers.
Yes, my dad.
Gotcha.
My dad and his two brothers. We had a really large commercial apiary in Grovedale. We ran hundreds of hives and had foreign workers, and it was a whole big thing, a big part of my life. But anyways, on the table here is some of the honey that I'm making now. I run a much smaller scale beekeeping operation. I max out at probably about 25 to 30 hives. But my dad and I have done comparisons. My dad's the person that I beekeep with, and us running 25 hives ourselves and really paying attention to those hives, we figure it's the same as a commercial beekeeper running about 100 hives because we don't have employees and we can just do really good hive management. So we get a lot of honey.
Nice.
Honey super. So the things that I make, obviously I've got liquid honey and creamed honey. And then just about 3 years ago, I started getting into doing more things with the beeswax. So I love making candles. It wasn't something I loved right away, but I really like it now. I do a lip balm that I infuse with rose hips because they're high in vitamin C. And I just pick those right here in my yard because we have tons of wild roses. And I infuse the oil with that and then use my beeswax as kind of the thickening agent.
This one right here.
Yeah,
right?
and I'd love for you to have
Look
one
at
because
that.
it's
thank you so
literally
much.
the best lip balm you'll ever use. It's unscented and unflavored, but it's a lip balm that your lips don't get addicted to. They just heal your chapped lips and then you're done with it, so it really lasts.
There we go. Wild rose hip infused, safflower, castor, sweet almond, coconut oil, beeswax, shea butter, vitamin E.
Yes, just all natural ingredients.
I love the color.
It's the color from the rose hip oil. It really turns it that pretty yellowy orange color. And then I also do a paw wax for dogs. I had a friend in town who has 2 Samoyed dogs, and she had been using Musher's Secret, I believe it's called, for a long time. And then I think their formula changed a little bit, and she just wasn't happy with it anymore. As well, it's quite pricey. So her and I teamed up, and she tested a whole bunch of different formulations of paw wax, and this is the one that worked best on her dogs. So it's been super successful here in Grande Prairie.
Which one is it?
It's
this
that
one right
one
here?
there, yeah. And
Gotcha. Moisturizes, soothes, protects, repairs. So that's obviously for their paws.
yeah,
Gotcha.
so it helps make it. There's nothing in it. I'm actually sold out. Well, I try to
It's
make
a great product.
Yeah, I make everything fresh, and seeing as it's not winter anymore, I won't make a new batch until winter because I like everything to be as fresh as possible. So that's what the packaging looks like if you're looking for it in the store. I have a really great relationship with Homesteader Health here in Grande Prairie. They sell all my things and they treat me amazing. I couldn't recommend going to another health food store anywhere. The ladies are awesome, and yeah, they take really good care of me and do a great job of selling my things.
I also see that you've got candles here.
Yeah, so
look at all these different shapes and patterns. How do you
I
make
like
them?
making, so for these I have molds. Those tapers are a mold as well, but I also do hand dip candles. I just don't have any on me at this time. And then I also do beeswax luminaries, which is, there's a tea light inside. And then when you turn it on, it's pretty bright in here, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the light glows through the wax, and it just gives a really nice ambiance of like a really warm honey glow. Also, these float, so if you have a pool or you're going to the lake, they're kind of fun to put in the water and they just bob along. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things.
Great for a nighttime pool party.
That's right.
How do you make these intricate patterns?
That is a mold that
Gotcha.
the candles are poured into.
Beautiful though. Wow.
Thanks. And like I said, I wasn't even interested in candles at all in the beginning, and then all of a sudden I was
Just came about?
just decided I would give it a try, and it was super rewarding, and I love popping them out of the molds. They always look so beautiful, and there's a lot more I want to do with candles, like hand shaping the warm wax and making twisted candles. Also, I make another candle that looks kind of like this. I call it a love bomb because it kind of looks like a circle like this, except there's a wick that's in the wax that goes all the way around. And then the candle burns in a circular motion, and it goes around and around and around till the very bottom. It's really cool. Those also are sold out. And then I do a bath salt, and of course it's like a milk and honey bath salt. It actually has dehydrated honey in it, as well as milk powder, whole milk powder, so it just leaves your skin so super soft. It would be great for babies, like if they have irritated skin, because it's super soothing. And then I love foraging. Right now we're drinking nettle tea from my raspberry patch that's just over there. Another thing that I love to forage is dandelions. I'm infusing some avocado oil right now with these dandelions, and I hope to make a body serum out of it.
They're very healthy dandelions.
Once it's ready, yeah, for sure. They're great for your skin as well.
But this looks like a great, just so much creativity that you can do with honey and bee products.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Okay,
this is actually just kind of like a fun little passion project. I don't know if you can see this, but it's purple, and I have a stamp on it that has a butterfly that looks the same as my honey bee, which were both drawn by local artists. So that's how the bee came to be. So it just has a butterfly pea flower in it. That's what makes it purple. And then it's really fun for kids because if you put this in with hot water and stir it, it's kind of a light purple color. And then if you give it a squeeze of lemon, it like magically changes color to pink. And so it's pretty fun to play with anyways.
How'd you find out about that?
So I know this is going to sound like a little bit weird, but a lot of my ideas just come to me, I would say, right before I wake up in the morning. Like all of a sudden I'll be like, I'll have a new idea. I mean, I knew butterfly pea flower. I've seen that used in cocktails before, so I knew that it could kind of like change color with the lemon juice. And then one of my favorite teas is honey lemon tea, and I was like, why not make a honey lemon tea that changes colors? That would be fun for kids.
Oh, another delicious tea, very nutritious too. Tell me, if you weren't a beekeeper, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Well, beekeeping actually is not my full-time job. I do have a full-time job. I work at our Polytechnic, Northwestern Polytechnic, and I'm in international recruiting. And I guess I would say growing up on a farm where we had international workers, I just really love connecting with people from different cultures and learning about them and introducing them to our way of life as well.
Have you ever chatted with them about different ways that beekeeping happens around the world, like different methods?
Something that's super interesting is different cultures, they seem to value honey a lot more than people here. Like
Really?
They're always really excited when I say I have honey, and they want it and they use it. Yeah, I would say they have like a deeper understanding of honey than Western culture and a deeper love for it.
But Alberta has great beekeeping. Like I've been around a lot of apiaries, and it's just a lot of passion for it. Yeah,
there's a
I'm
ton
always
of
amazed for it.
beekeepers in Alberta. We produce, I think, we're one of the top producers in the world of honey, and our honey is all very desirable because it's this nice light color. The lighter the honey, the less strong the taste is, so depending on what your preference is. But most people like a lighter honey. It's easier to incorporate into baking without it overpowering.
I wanted to ask you, what is the difference in method between this honey and this honey?
Yeah, for sure. So if you leave liquid honey on the counter, it's going to granulate and get kind of a rough texture.
Right.
It's because it forms crystals that have a squared edge. So on the tongue, it's like a little bit sharp and a little bit gritty.
Yeah.
So if you cream honey, I guess the easiest way to do it, like if you wanted to do it yourself, is you would take some of this creamed honey and add it to some liquid honey, about a third creamed honey and the rest liquid honey. Stir it and then put it in the fridge. It will set up the same texture as this honey. So this honey, it's called a seed when you seed the honey, and then it's some science magic, I guess. It doesn't get
some
those
chemistry,
yeah,
some alchemy.
Yeah, it doesn't get those squared edges. It's rounded because this honey is granulated rounded. And then so you always get the same consistent, smooth, beautiful creamed honey.
I see, yeah. That's a great method, and it's great to have both variety because I imagine they serve different purposes or for different recipes and ingredients.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, they want the creamed honey to spread on toast because it's not going all over the place. And then for tea, they want a liquid honey, or baking.
So I guess you start off early, very early in the whole beekeeping world. What do you think was one of the biggest lessons that stuck with you when you were a kid and just learning about beekeeping?
So it was very different when I was a kid because, like I said, we were a commercial operation. When I started running my own hives, I wanted to do it more naturally. And then I partnered with my dad, which has been really fun because he comes from the commercial end and I come from like the hippy dippy end.
How did you pitch it to him?
So I'd been on the acreage here for just about a year, I think. And then I just said I was interested in running some hives, and my dad is a huge keener. He was all over it. He was super on board. But then over the years, we've had like the battles of, so one thing they do in commercial beekeeping is, if a queen is not doing good, she's petering out, they just kill her and replace her with another queen. And I was like,
cold.
I know. I was like, my heart can't take it. So we actually built a whole nother building at my uncle's house. He was kind enough to give us an old shed of his. And it was the queen bee retirement shed.
The retirement community for queen bees?
Yes, the retirement community. So they got to live out their lives there. And, it was interesting. Most of them honestly did peter out within the year. So if you were commercial beekeeping and you had to keep that flow, you would have to get rid of them. But some of them lasted longer than you would expect it, and they got to live out their lives until the hives replaced them. So I don't know. We've had lots of little things like that.
How do you remove them from the hive without, the bees kind of like going crazy? Or how does that process work?
Usually you can see them. They're a lot larger. They have like a long abdomen and the back is a little bit shiny. So to the trained eye, it's not too hard to pull out a frame, look at it for a couple of minutes. You might see their attendants kind of surrounding them. So you can kind of spot them. And then you just take that frame out and put it in another box with maybe another frame of bees, and then give some empty frames and some feed frames, and then put them in the other building, and they're good to go. So
Gotcha.
You don't have to touch them, or they're not going to fly away. Like, you just have to move them.
So that frame goes to the retirement community. How do you bring in a new frame, and how do they select a new queen?
So you can either let them raise their own queen, in which case the workers will build a queen cell.
Okay.
And then they feed that special cell, the royal jelly, and that's what creates the queen bee.
And you can see that cell?
Yeah, okay. It's a lot bigger. It's almost like peanut shaped by the time they're done building it. So it's like a long kind of cell like that. And then she'll hatch out, and that will be the new queen. Or you can buy a queen either from a local person or from Bee Made in Spruce Grove or wherever you are. And it'll come in a little cage. You just put the cage in with the bees. Give it about 3 days so they get used to her pheromones. If they're not used to her, they might attack her and kill her. So you got to give them those 3 days. And then if they haven't released her out of that cage, it usually has what's called a candy plug. So it's just sugar. So they can chew that out and get to her. But if they so sometimes that candy plug is too hard for them to get out. So we'll replace it just with a little piece of marshmallow. And then that takes them, it's a lot softer, and they can get to her easier. And then in about 3 days, we'll go back and check the hive, and if they haven't released her, we'll just open the cage and she'll just crawl right in and get to work.
How long does it take for a queen to hatch?
It's about 3 weeks.
But
Yeah.
that's interesting that you know all of this and you know how they work and their society works and everything. Yeah.
There's a ton to learn.
Do you
It's
think
like
they
you're
recognize you?
I hope so. So my very first interaction with a bee, I remember clearly. I was on the farm. We used to live out big buckets of water for our dogs, and there was a bee in the water. And I thought I was going to save this bee because we loved bees. So I put my hand in the water and scooped it up, and the bee stung me. And it hurt so bad. And I was like so confused as to why it would sting me when I was trying to help it. And then I think I've just spent the rest of my life trying to win over bees. The people pleaser in me.
So when you're, again, when you were growing up and you were in that commercial operation, was it just honey, or were you guys also producing different types of products with beeswax like you have here?
It was just honey. We also did pollen, I guess. And then we were certified organic because that's something you could get in the early 90s. And we sold the majority of our honey actually to a chocolate bar maker in Germany.
Nice.
And he made lovely products out of it. And he was very particular. When we shipped the honey in the barrels, he wanted all the barrels sprayed with beeswax. So the honey never actually touched the metal or anything like that. So my uncle was very inventive, and he kind of modified a paint sprayer that could heat the beeswax, and then we could spray all the barrels with beeswax.
Wow.
So it was interesting.
So how did you expand into the beeswax operation, into like the candles and such?
I guess when I extract honey, I hand scratch the frames. I don't use a knife, like a hot knife or anything. I like to hand scratch everything. And I just was accumulating so much wax, and I would clean it, and then I was storing it. And then I was like, okay, well, I finally have to do something with this. So I started out just like double boiler on the stove. My kids were so annoyed with me because you should never do any wax work in your house. It gets so messy.
And sticky too. I can imagine just all the surfaces.
Everywhere. It just gets everywhere. And then that really wasn't very fun because it wasn't the right equipment for the job. So I splurged and got a really nice wax melter, and everything has just been so much easier since then. Like, that's the way to go. Have the right tools for the job.
And then the molds come in and they make these beautiful shapes and all.
Yeah, you can order molds online, although their quality is kind of iffy sometimes. Or I've bought quite a few at Bee Made in Spruce Grove. They've got really nice high quality molds there. At the Polytechnic that I work at, they have a 3D printer, and they're actually going to print me some molds. So I'm excited about that because then I can have like unique candles just to me.
Do they have beekeeping programs at the Polytechnic?
Yeah, there's actually the Beaver Lodge Bee Research Station, which is a really world-class facility where they're doing tons of studies on varroa mites, on bee health. If you have a chance, I would definitely recommend going out there. It's really, really cool.
That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, it'd be great to learn about it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of old plants out there as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful property.
Do they keep it in like a greenhouse or what?
No, just plants that are on the property. And then, they have all their hives that they are testing with this and that and the other thing. They'll actually, if you suspect that your bees have any diseases, you can bring them a jar of like dead bees, and they'll test them for you for free and let you know like your bee health, which is a really cool service that we have here right in Grande
That's
Prairie.
awesome. Yeah, that's very useful.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a really cool resource. Yeah.
Do you use them a lot?
I've only
taken
I've taken my bees there once, and their health check was good. Another benefit I think of the building is the bees aren't getting hot and cold. So it helps, just like us, like we get sick when our temperatures are constantly being changed. So them just having like kind of a constant temperature, they seem to stay a lot healthier. I've never dealt with like chalk brood or there's like a deformed wing disease and like all these different things that they can get. And my bees have always been healthy. So I think too, just like having them in a more sheltered space keeps them healthier. They have to use less energy to stay warm or to stay cool. So yeah, they're happy there.
And I imagine the building comes in handy during the winter.
Yes, I wintered them in there, and then I'm able to provide them a little bit of heat, but you would be surprised how much heat they put off. Actually, okay, do you see that right there? That's the temperature in the bee house. So it's 17.3 degrees in there right now, and I'm not heating it at all. That's just their heat. That's just from them.
17.3 degrees right now.
Yeah, and outside I would say right now it's probably about 9 degrees, right? 9 or 10?
Yeah, 10
I think
degrees, I'd
yeah.
say.
So, so they heat it.
Do you have a problem then when it gets really hot?
Yes, that's why I have, winter or summer, that's why I have the thermometer here. Mm-hmm. Because if it gets too hot, then I've got a vent in the roof I can open, or I can crack the door open. And then if it's too cold, I can give them a little bit more heat. So I'm always monitoring them. And my dad, he lives in town. For his birthday, we got him an app that he can see the temperature all the time. And he graphs it, and then he'll be texting me at 2 a.m. Josie, go open the door. The bees are too hot.
Oh, that's awesome that he graphs it, and he really keeps track of the data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the data collector for
That's
sure.
how you tell the patterns.
Yeah. Or if I by accident unplug that, if I'm vacuuming or something, he'll be like, something's wrong. I can't see. He notices so fast. If I ever needed help, I should just unplug that, and he'll be over faster than anything else.
Faster than the bees can let you know.
Yeah.
So how does the year look for you? Since here in Grande Prairie, I imagine winter lasts a little bit longer than in southern Alberta.
Yes.
So how different does that work for the bees?
Honestly, it is pretty hard to winter bees here because our winters are so long. As soon as the days start getting a little warmer and it's above freezing, then we open the entrances and let them out for a cleansing flight, where they've been locked in all winter. They've been holding it all winter. So they'll go out, and on the snow, you'll see they've shit everywhere. And then they'll feel a lot better. The good thing about here is our days are so long in the summer.
Right.
That's how we get the big honey production, because they can fly for so many hours. So even though our season is super short, the long days make up for it. So we get like a really intense, short amount of time.
So they stay active, let's say, over 12 hours.
I would say as soon as the sun is not shining on the building, that's when they go back in. So they're probably working till at least 10 o'clock at night right now.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And they're up at 9. So 12 hours.
When do they go back in for, I guess, winter hibernation? Would you say October?
Yeah, it's usually late October. Okay. We will reduce the hive, so take off the honey supers, leave them like a box of honey usually, and then once everybody's in, we close the entrances, keep it completely dark, and they form a ball around the queen to keep her at the right temperature, and we hope for the best. Treat them for mites so they don't get out of control over winter.
Right.
Yeah. And then hope for the best. Hope for an early spring.
Do you ever have to creak in there, open up the door just a little bit during the winter and check on them, or not at all?
Not generally. There shouldn't be any reason really to disturb them throughout the winter, unless you are suspicious that they might be getting low on food. Then you might have to supplement them with...
Does the app track that too?
Well, you'll know if bees are dying because the temperature will go down.
Right.
They're not. So, so there's that.
But that's so amazing to hear, your whole process and these different things that you've learned, and how you monitor them, how you graph them, how you track their process, and the temperature, taking into account, when you got to let them out, when they come back in. And yeah, you are right. Due to the fact that you guys have more daylight here, it makes up for the longer winters.
Yes. Yeah, it's really surprising how much honey you can get. I usually average about 200 to 300 pounds per hive.
Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed with honey?
Oh, heck yeah. My very first year, I was not expecting to sell honey really even. And it just happened to be a crazy great year. I think we brought in over 10,000 pounds. So that's when I was like, okay, I need to create a label. I need to go to the health food store and see if they're interested in selling honey. I need to do some farmers markets. And that's kind of how my business was born.
We like to
Yeah.
talk about the first year of a business as the trial by fire. Would you say
Hmm.
that that was your biggest lesson of that first year, that you had too much honey
I
than
mean,
you could do
that's a
with?
great problem to have,
Yeah,
right?
that's a great problem to have.
And honey is awesome because it keeps forever. So, you can sell it all through the winter. It's a slow, steady seller. It's nothing that's like a big income right away. It's just kind of consistent.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, honestly, and really kicked me in the butt to get things rolling.
When someone's first starting out, what are three things you would advise them to know before starting the whole beekeeping?
I think the key thing is just a lot of people get really excited, me included, and want to just get into things right away. But with
Hmm.
beekeeping, it so pays off to be proactive and have extra equipment, like extra bee boxes. Bees build up so fast here, it's crazy. And if you run out of room, they're going to swarm. You're going to lose half your hive. And it's a lot of money, and half your workforce is gone. So, like having extra equipment built, extra supers, honey supers to put on top, honey supers when you pull the honey off, that you have honey supers to replace them, things like that. And then second, to you're going to have to extract the honey. So how are you going to do that? Do you have an extractor? Do you have a plan like that you're going to, like, I don't know, figure out how you're going to get the honey out of the frames is very important. Yeah, having like a mite management system, how you're going to do that. And those things are going to set you up for success. Like, yeah.
Grabbing each bee, checking its back.
Yeah, with your little tweezers.
It's like, okay, you can move on. Is there another product that you have in mind right now that you might come up with in the future?
The body serum that I want to do with the infused dandelion oil is something that's going to be new. And then other than that, like I was saying before, I want to kind of explore more with candles. If I like, time is always the issue. But there's some really beautiful things you can do with candles. So I'd like to obviously, yeah, play with that some more.
As a beekeeper, how do you define success?
Your bees being alive.
Your bees
it's
being
very
alive.
clear. I would say, yeah, that is success. Is your bees doing well? Yeah.
And Jolaina, tell us, as a beekeeper, how do you set yourself apart from others?
I think because I really do things as naturally as possible. Even though it may take longer, I don't mind. It's worth it to me. One example would be when you're going to extract honey, you have to get the bees out of the honey supers. And a lot of commercial beekeepers, because they're short on time, or they got a lot to get done in a day, they'll use something called BeeGo, which is a chemical that you put in the hives that the bees all vacate super fast. I don't want to add any extra chemicals into the hives that I don't have to. So I do something where I tip the honey supers on their end. And then if you leave them for about an hour, most of the bees vacate on their own and fly back to the hive because they realize this is not right. Being on the end, out in the sun, they don't like it, and they'll leave. The few bees that are left, I use just a blower, and I just blow them out. So gently, they get pushed out with wind, so they're not injured, and they go back to the hive. So I think what sets me apart is just I am really passionate about keeping the honey as chemical free as possible. To get organic status is just not, you might be able to get it, but with all the things that are being sprayed on the land that we don't have control over, I don't think it's like a status that matters anymore. Because how can you prove it's actually organic? So I think just like know who your beekeeper is, know what their processes are, ask the questions, and yeah, get a good product.
Do you often find yourself reading about historical beekeeping methods back when they didn't have any chemicals to work with? Have you researched those methods?
So a long time ago, or even when actually we had the bee farm out in Grovedale, there weren't so many issues. There wasn't the varroa mite. like it didn't exist. People weren't spraying their fields with Roundup. They were farming more organically because, you know, they just didn't have to. Right.
Right.
It was a different time. It was a lot easier. Beekeeping's a lot harder now. Yeah.
But you're up to the challenge.
Yeah. I mean, this will be my 12th year this year running these bees. And then, yeah, like I said, being a kid on a bee farm too. But yeah.
But it's interesting to hear your perspective and see how different things have shifted over time and how processes have changed, how processes haven't changed, how new challenges have come, and how people still have to endure to get their honey. I think it's fantastic. I love the work that you do, and it's great to, again, very interesting, manage the bees and just keep a schedule and track them and make sure that they're healthy. It takes a lot of effort, so you should be recognized for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, and that wraps up another episode of StoryHive On Location Calgary. If you've got a story and want to be featured, don't forget to scan the QR code and apply to be a guest on our show. Stay tuned. See you next time.